Signal from the mixer to the equalizer. Now we are picking from equalizer to the crossover now. Now we just pick channel 1 and send it to input on our crossover. Then channel 2 and also send to the input on our crossover. 4 channels. This can take everything, but I want us to use 2 power amp. So just there. When you some building by the 40 years, saying how to split it. So if you have 3,
with those speakers,
my own is 3.
just boxed in the
no problem. The other one we can use another one for our monitor. Do you understand? Yes. We can use one for monitor.
Okay, so let me ask.
Okay.
Like I said, mine is 3. So what we did was from
Mixer.
the mixer to the EQ. Now the EQ supplies to the main speakers and then the
Directly
monitor.
to the speakers.
Yes,
To the
EQ.
amplifier that
To the
drive the
yes.
speakers. Okay.
Then we have from this same EQ to an amp that sends to the monitor. Then the
Which channel did you use to send?
channel, like this one, with the right now, is sending for the main speakers. Then the left is sending for monitors. Then for the sub, one other amp is working for the sub. So what the person did when he came, he showed us. He said he used aux 1.
Auxiliary.
Yes.
1.
Like
Yesterday we discussed it. Yeah.
This aux 1. So he sent it from the aux 1 here on this one.
Pick it on aux send.
Aux send, yes.
Aux send should be here.
Here. So he picked it from here. He's sending to crossover, from crossover to the
amplifier. Now this is what you just explained now is aux-fed subwoofer. Do you understand?
Yes.
You now drive your subwoofer using auxiliary. Yesterday I mentioned something on the other mixer. If you are using aux send, if this channel is for your kick drum,
Yes.
it's just to come here and on this, and you have your kick drum on your subwoofer. We are going to try it practical so that they will get it and understand it. So, but if you don't need the kick drum on the speakers, you can just off here and put it on pre-feather. Even without the feather, this your sub will still be working.
Okay.
Do you understand? But once you put it on post feather, this will not supply sound unless you now drive it using the feather. Let's continue with our signal flow. Let's go on with our signal flow. Now from the crossover now, I'm going to supply to the main speaker. Now we are using stereo 2 ways. Then I'm going to pick my high frequency. Now the high now, don't mind what is written high or high not used because this is set on 2 ways configuration. So now we are sending this high to the amplifier that will drive our main speaker channel. That's channel 3. Then this other one here, the out. If you see here, this is high, not used. But because we are using 2-way stereo, this is use high out to our channel 1. I think channel 1 is here. So for the subwoofer now, because I'm using 2 ways, I'm going to pick. I can decide to pick sub from this low and this low.
Yes.
This low. So I can pick the 2 at the same time to drive 2 different sub, but I'm picking 1 for now because we're having 1 sub to use. So let me pick. This is also low, not used, but I'm picking it because of the configuration. So I'm using white. What I said on expansion, if I have another white cable and another additional sub and additional power amp, I can pick the other low out and drive that one separately. So I think we are done with this. If you check, we already have a signal, but if you check very well, this is a bypass signal. Somebody talk about bypass. This is automatically a bypass. Reason is because this EQ is not engaged. Now, to engage this EQ, if you check here, you have in and out meter. This is IO meter. If you check anywhere you see IO, it means in and out. This is in and out. I press it. This is in and out. Then if you check the top, you have your audio. Then under the audio, you have in and out audio. Then I also press it and also press this one. Now, what happens is that once you engage this, what happens, you can use this to take off the sound of your EQ and use this to boost it. This controls the signal that comes in and the signal that goes out at the same time. So now I can control the level of the volume that goes out by increasing it and the level of the volume that comes in at the same time. Now, coming to the front buttons here, if you check, even as I temper with this light on these sliders are on. They are all bright and on. Now, the function or the reason for this is because this button, FBQ, is used to help you detect feedback and fight it. So by pressing this button, this light is off, and you can notice flashes on set different frequencies. The same thing with this. Now, what this is telling you that if there's a feedback, help me with your mic, please. Let's get this guy from which order. Check. Sound check. 1 2. With this, we have to on our speaker first before we get to that level. We need to create feedback and so that you understand that. But for now, once there's feedback, if the feedback is around the low frequency, the LED on that particular frequency will flash brighter than all the other ones. The same thing with the second channel. Now, this knob at the center is where you choose a frequency between this 20 hertz up to this. So once you are going down, you are coming to this lower frequency. So this we are going to try also practical. Then this controls, this one boosts the high frequency. This boosts the high frequency and also cut off the high frequency. Then the last one is range. I will not advise when you are setting a sound in a church to activate this because you don't need it. Now let's move to the next step to make sure that we have our signal on the next. The next is the crossover. Now, if you check the first knob on the crossover, under it is written gain input. Gain input, you go on like this with gain input to on it. Now, another thing with DBX is that it's not as Behringer that you notice the indicator. This one doesn't have any indicator to tell you whether there's signal in or out, but there's a control for that. So, but we don't know whether it's in already, but this should be in by owning it. The other channel, the same thing, gain input, you on it. Now, before we send the sound out, because this is a very powerful unit, we need to on the signal on our amplifiers. Now, coming to this, sorry. Yeah, okay. Now, I have my volume on all the amplifiers, but still no sound. Now remember, we connect our main speakers on high inputs and high outputs. Now on high outputs, now here if you check, you see high outputs. So this knob will automatically control the high out. This is it. So for the low out, I don't know, we use this channel. So this is our low output. So for our sub now. So now, I want us to observe very well, because I want to set this crossover properly. After setting the crossover, I want to set the EQ before we go back to mixer fully. So now, Shugaba, in ka yarda in mun crossover and EQ, za mu je break. In mun dawo sai mu soka kan mixer, don mixer yana da yawa. So this is what I'm going to do now. Because I have my full signal from my equalizer to my crossover. Now I have to send this and also send this. In short, I would love to use, permit me to use, because where the low frequency, let's use this low output here. Very wrong. I talked about it yesterday. Yes. So this can affect your speaker. So the reason why I decided to use one channel instead of the two, because when I begin to adjust the crossover frequency, you'll notice the difference. Now, here is my sub, and I want to make adjustment before powering my top. Now, this is the crossover frequency. This is what is happening. Now, this is already on low frequency. This is way down to 45 hertz. Now, imagine what I'm doing. Just observe the difference in the sound. This is around, now I want you to observe this. This is 240 hertz. If you come here, you have 250. It's around here, around this frequency. So now going up all the way down to, this is how our sub is now sounding. Because we are now way down to this area, around the mid. That is what we are supplying to this speaker now, instead of the low frequency. So taking it back, this is what you have. Then let's go with the high frequency on the same crossover frequency adjustment. Then this is what happened. Now by the time I'm going like this is my speaker. So I select just the high frequency and feed my speaker with it. Now by the time I'm going back, remember this is the crossover frequency. This is the mid range, around the high mid. I'm going down to the low frequency. Now this speaker now have the full signal, the normal signal feeding this speaker. Now let's set it proper, because I don't need more of the low frequency on this speaker, so I have to take off some of the low frequency and ask this subwoofer to take off the low. Now, after setting this, we can still work on our equalizer now to shape this sound the way we want. Remember what I said. Remember what I said on this volume slider on the EQ, where you adjust the level of your frequency. Now, I want to set this EQ now so that we go back on the mixer. First thing I usually do is to take off the lower frequency that I don't need. If you go through the frequency analysis or the frequency chart on that app I share with you, you will notice that around 20 to 40 hertz is mostly felt, not here. You can't hear it, you just feel it. That contains a kind of noise, background noise that you don't need on your sound. In order to shape the low frequency, have clearer sound, you take it off. But some people use this, drop it a little bit, but in most cases I take it off because I don't even need it. Now on this is where you can still use to select between these frequencies. So if I do this, I apply the same thing I did with my crossover. I'm still doing it with my EQ. So the reason why I'm selecting around this 75 or this 50 is because I want my entire sound, the low frequency, to be cut around 50 or down to around 63. So that's why I use this to select. So I select it around here, then I select this one around here. Then this one, remember what I said, this control this is your high cut. You either boost the high frequency or take it off. Now this is what happened to this. This speaker is now sounding as if there's no tweeters, no high frequency. So I can start boosting it with this. All the way down to here. If you notice, you even see the lights around this area. So I select a perfect position that I like using. Now, after selecting this, setting this, you go on setting this particular EQ. Now I want you to get something. Every hall have its own kind of acoustic and challenge. Now I'm going to set this, even though this is not the full sound that we are setting, but I want you to have an idea on how to use the equalizer slider, frequency slider. Now if I'm boosting this 1K, this is what happened. Do you notice the changes on the sound? Now take it down. Just by tampering with one frequency. See the difference? So when you come here, so when you come here, now remember that app I share with you on how to train your ears to easily detect which frequency is giving you feedback. Now it's almost the same thing with this. If I boost any of the frequency, you will notice. Now let's create feedback. I want us to get how this works. What are we using? You can see that frequency is on. I want to face this speaker. But don't you hear more speaker in your face now, so that I can easily get my feedback. Which one are we using? Okay, turn it a little bit. This is what your equalizer can cost your sound. Just hear my voice. check, it means this frequency, by doing this alone, I'm done with my feedback.
Wow.
Wow.
Now you
So
can
you
tell
can
me.
see. So I can also create another one here.
So the manyan kai.
So just drop it a little bit, you are done with it. So you can also come here. Now stop now.
Okay.
No, this is not the frequency I wanted to create. Okay, we are still getting feedback around here. It means that this, then we can, I still want to get my low feedback from my sub. That's what I want to do. I want to get from my sub, not from my... Where's long cable? Sugar This is what I want to get. I'll just do this and I'm done with it. Another one that comes, you just observe and take just a little bit of the frequency slider, drop it a little bit, and you are done with the feedback. So that's the function of this. But with this on all, you can't even notice where the feedback is coming from. But once you on it, you now observe.
Beautiful.
Yes. So this allows you to shape your sound according to your room acoustic. Then secondly, fight feedback with this. No need of just taking it off. You just drop it a little bit and notice that the feedback is off. So for now, any question on this before we go for a break? We come back and go fully into our mixer. So anybody have a question on this signal flow from our mixer to our EQ?
Yes, sir. I noticed you adjusted these knobs,
Yes.
but this particular knobs, you didn't even touch it. Why?
Yes. Reason is because we've already configured this crossover to two ways stereo, which we can only drive our subwoofer by using our low output and our top or main speaker using our high output. So we don't need this because of the configuration.
Okay.
Yes. So if you are using a, like say, 3 or 4 ways configuration, that's where this will come to play.
Okay.
Yes. Based on the configuration, I don't need them. Any other question? Everybody is clear on this. So let's go for a brief break. Sugar,